Today, I want to talk about something you may not have heard of. I know I hadn't until I became a dementia caregiver and did a ton of research. Hi, Dexter. But it is something that almost every dementia caregiver will run into and not be warned about, and it is challenging to deal with. It is called anosognosia. If your loved one insists that they're fine or refuses help or blames you for things that they might have done, you're probably dealing with anosognosia. And it can be really confusing and emotional, and you can take it personally because that's how it feels. It can feel really personal and it can feel manipulative and really, really frustrating. So we've been there with our mom, and once we started to understand what was actually going on, it made things a lot easier, and we came up with some really great strategies around it. So, what is anosognosia? Anosognosia is a neurological symptom where the person literally loses their ability in their brain to recognize their own cognitive challenges. The part of their brain that's responsible for that self-awareness has actually been damaged, so they really don't know that there's anything wrong with them, and they are fine in their own mind. So, this can be really challenging for caregivers, and it's really common in dementia. It's not because they're being stubborn or manipulative or in denial. It is actually like a brain blind spot. So some of the things that might happen, I'll give you some examples from our life with our mom. So our mom will think she can cook a full meal, even though she can't follow any steps and can barely hold a knife sometimes. So our mom would always say, "I don't need any help." They might insist that they can shower by themselves. They don't need any help with that. For our mom, this was really challenging, especially when we brought in external PSWs. She would be really resistant and refuse any personal care. Um, Another thing that might happen is they might do something wrong or throw something out or move something or break something. And this would happen often with our mom. We would know, we could see on camera what had happened. She threw the thing out or whatever. But if we mentioned, like, oh, such and such got thrown out, she would immediately say, well, I didn't do that because she had no memory of it and couldn't even know that she didn't have a memory of it because she didn't think she had a problem with her memory. Um, and if your loved one maybe doesn't have as much money as they expected, this might turn into accusations like that you stole money from them because they don't remember spending it. For our mom, luckily, we did not deal with those accusations, but she would worry constantly and want to check her money because she didn't know really how money worked or anything. But she wanted to always check how much money she had. Luckily, we never got accused of stealing, but that's a really hard thing to deal with. So it can feel really, really personal. Um, and the other thing that's weird about anosognosia for dementia people is that it even goes up and down. So there might be days that they are aware of their cognitive difficulties, and then other days where it's completely gone. So it almost feels manipulative. It feels like they're doing it on purpose. For our mom, she'll be like, think she's completely fine most of the time. And then once in a while, she'll have these moments of self-awareness and she'll say, oh my gosh, my brain is broken, or I'm losing my mind, or my brain isn't working right. And she realizes it. And so it's heartbreaking to see her in that, but it's really challenging when she doesn't know that she has a problem. So anosognosia is extremely difficult for caregivers. We are the ones who are seeing the decline most clearly, and we're often also the safest person that they have. So all of that fear and confusion and everything that they're going through kind of lands on us. And when they are saying, I don't need your help, and then things are going really wrong, or if they accuse us of something, it feels like it just feels awful. It feels really personal, but it's just their brain trying to make sense of a world that does not fit what they're expecting. So if you ever feel angry or frustrated or lose your patience with your person, you are normal. If you're trying to explain things or reason with them and getting more frustrated, you are normal. You are going through this human experience. Unfortunately, all of that explaining and logic doesn't help. So, here are a few things that we have found do help. Um, First of all, don't argue, just join their reality. So if we saw our mom throw the thing out and she says, I didn't do it, we don't say, yeah, you did. It's on the camera. We just go, oh, I know it, it must have been me when I was here and I forgot it. So just go along with it. If they think you took their money, really hard situation. Try though saying, "Oh shoot, I forgot. I borrowed that money, but I'll give it back to you tomorrow." And then just redirect them to something else to change the subject. That is something you can usually do with a lot of people with dementia is kind of redirect, and they will lose that train of thought. The second tip is to avoid offering help directly, and this one has been huge for us. Our mom really does not believe she needs help. So when you offer it, she just refuses. And this was really challenging when we moved her into care. And all of a sudden, all these strangers were coming to offer to help her. So some of the things that we have gotten them to do is to ask her for help. So instead of coming in to say, I'm here to help you take a shower, we've got the PSWs to say, hi, can you help me with these towels and bring them in here for me? And so they would get our mom into the bathroom and then start just moving along with the process and guide her through the routine gently. Instead of saying, do you need to go to the bathroom? We would say things like, oh, I just went to the bathroom. It's your turn next. So, it just felt like the natural thing that we were all doing. Instead of saying like, I'll help you make dinner, we would ask for help making dinner. Like, can you help me mix the salad? So we're giving her something to do. So she's busy and making her feel useful and not like she needs help. So avoid offering help. Instead, ask for help. Next one, use compassionate lying. This sounds awful to lie. Of course, you want to be honest with your person, but it really is kind in these scenarios. Using some tiny white lies that help to reduce their anxiety and protect their dignity is helpful. So you might use the doctor, mentioning the doctor wants it this way, or the doctor said we have to try this for a while, or things like in our adult day program, we just said, oh, it's a seniors group and just try it for a couple of days, even though we had signed up for several weeks. So compassionate lying can be helpful. And then finally, redirect instead of explaining. So if they're stuck on something, whether that's like need to see the bank or I didn't do this or whatever it is, shift the conversation. So you might be like, hey, why don't we go grab a coffee or grab a tea? Or can you help me to fold these cloths? Or let's go sit somewhere else. And so just shifting them out of whatever they were kind of stuck on can be really helpful. Redirect where possible. So anosognosia, it is really difficult. It is something I had never heard of until I started researching dementia as a caregiver. And it is not difficult for the person with the dementia. It is more difficult for the person who is the caregiver. But when we understand it, hopefully it helps us take things less personally and respond with less stress. But listen, if you are in this journey, please know this. You are doing the best you can. You are creative. You are patient. Even if you lose your temper sometimes, you're doing the best you can and you are not alone. If you appreciate tips like this, if you have questions about caregiving, please let us know. Like, subscribe, comment below. And make sure to go to disruptdementia.com and grab our tracker. It is a way to track all the things happening with your loved ones so you are more prepared for doctor's appointments, for meetings with caregivers, and everything, and understanding the progression of your loved one's dementia.